Hi, everybody. It's great to be back at Wallops once again. And Mr. Administrator, you honor me by joining with us today. We know the intensity of your schedule and, of course, the other big guns. I mean, Chris Scalise from Goddard and the two bills that are here, and as well as Mr. Culbertson from ATK. But while I meet with the big shots, and particularly also the Mars people here, I really wanted to meet with you. I see these guys in Washington all the time, but I don't always get a chance to see you. And I wanted to be sure before we return to launch that I came to tell you how excited I am about the return to launch. What a great job you did in all of the repair work, all the restoration work, the hands-on approach that we're doing so that we are ready to go, both to make sure that the launch pad was as fit for duty as it could possibly be, that our rocket is a brand new rocket ready to go, and to do it before the launch. When the launch comes, there'll be a lot of press and there'll be a lot of congratulation. But today is to thank the people who made it happen. And also to thank all of the people who work here at Wallops. Wallops Island, 1945. We were coming to the end of a war. But we knew that it was science and technology, as well as the greatest generation, that had made it happen. Up in a remote place in New Mexico called Los Alamos, in 27 months, scientists created a bomb that would unleash incredible power, but save us in the Pacific. We had driven the Nazis to their knees, again, through technology and the bravery of our people. And here at this facility was a very important military base. And what a storied, continual history that this wonderful Wallops Island plays in terms of the security of our country. First of all, an important role in national security. You know its past. You know the wonderful work that our military does now here, and we hope that we even have more military tenants. And then in science and technology, to be able to have the NASA satellite dishes here that catch those important signals that we need to broadcast weather, that sends it to Suitland to be processed, takes it to the weather agency in College Park, operated by NOAA, and right now, in real time, because of what is done here, we can forecast tornadoes, hurricanes, save lives, save property. This is where it's happening. And when we look at NASA, when we look at our ability now to go into space with an unmanned commercial vehicle, who would have thought that we can go up there and therefore, because of what you do here, we can use the space station for another 5 years, maybe another 10 years, maybe there'll be other kinds of space stations, maybe there'll be condos in the sky getting ready to plan and execute a trip, go where no man or woman's ever gone before. All of this because of Wallops. Economic security, national security, daring, risk-taking. I'm so proud of you, and I wanted to be able to say that to you personally. We've been through a lot together. I've watched over the years when in the mid-1990s, we wondered if Wallops was going to be able to have a future. We were very excited about many things that was happening in space. We had returned to flight after the Challenger. President Reagan had also announced that we were going to build a space station. We were going to do things again in space. But where was Wallops going to fit in? Well, again, there was, in addition to wonderful rocket ships, there's another ship. There's another ship called bipartisanship. And working with my very dear and esteemed colleague, Senator John Warner, we looked at Wallops, and together we said we were going to make sure that Wallops continued to play a future then and would continue to continue to play a future. Senator Warner and I worked together. I looked at the NASA part, and Senator Warner looked at the military part. And together, we made sure that not only did NASA be economically viable, and that there would be government tenants working then with fabulous contractors as well, but that it would play a very important role in exploration and also in military security. I so treasured the relationship with Senator Warner. And Senator Warner and I worried about jobs today and jobs tomorrow. So one of the things we wanted to do was to bring broadband to the Eastern Shore. Senator Warner and I teamed up to bring broadband from Pax River, the naval base, over across the bay so that I could take it up Route 50 into Maryland, trying again to create a new infrastructure, a new high-speed infrastructure for jobs on my part of the shore, and Senator Warner wanted jobs in his tidal waters. And that's what we need. If we're going to launch rocket ships, I think we need to launch more bipartisanship, don't you? That is the ship to keep going. So Senator Warner and I, working with then Administrator Bolden, came up with the idea, had a strategic plan for what was going to be Wallops' future. We were going to have commercial launches, we were going to have government launches, and we were going to be able to do other things. And other things you did. You launched high-altitude balloons for scientific research. You used Wallops to test facilities for new aeronautical technology that was being developed at Langley and then continued to be able to go. The Navy did its test range for radar and weapons, and of course, we had NOAA. But along the way, as well as intentioned as we were, for scientific research, aerospace research, and so on, the commercial launch market faded. Well, back to the drawing boards again, and back to the administrators. Administrators have a love-hate relationship with me. They need me, but they need me when they want me. And I need them to help you be you, but I need them too. I don't mean love-hate. Approach avoidance is more that. So, and particularly, they, as we talked about, a balanced space program, human spaceflight, a reliable transportation system, aeronautics and space science. I always said, I don't care what you do and where you do it, as long as you're going to make sure we keep a Goddard Space Agency and we keep Wallops, and then you all can have the moon, you can have the stars, you can promise me our page. You can do anything, but I want my Wallops Island and I want my Goddard Space Agency. And why? Because you did the very, very best. And so then that's when we began to look, though, at a new era under both Administrator Bolden and also under President Obama, to go into commercial launch, to do something different than NASA had ever done before. Before, in all the rockets, NASA owns and operates it. So it is the kind of wonderful work they're doing right down in Huntsville with Orion, to do the big heavy lift that will take them back out of lower space orbit, to really be able to do daring and do. But at the same time, we have this fabulous asset in the sky called the space station, and what we need to be able to do. And under the work of the leadership of President Obama and his science team, working with Administrator Bolden, and then with our private sector, up came the idea of commercial crew. Now we have a friendly cousin called SpaceX, and we have a brother in Orbital. So we like SpaceX. Don't worry, Egon, I'm your friend. But we want to thank Orbital for being willing to do what they did and to compete there. So by 2005, we were ready to do something. And so excited about the idea that we were going to launch an unmanned commercial crew and that Wallops was now going to become Spaceport Wallops. Well, we tried. And the first two launches were enormously successful. But we had a setback. And you know what? That's the space program. There will always be space. There will always be setbacks. But we lost no life. we just had a damaged launch pad. Well, we went to work again, and I must thank Senator Shelby, my colleague from Alabama, where we worked to put $160 million in the federal checkbook to build and repair the launch, to build the HIF, as you call it, the Horizontal Integration Facility, and to be able to the launch facility was ready to be able to do that. After the setback, you went back to work, and we went to work to support you. We were able to do that because we all worked together, and you brought such knowledge and you brought such know-how to it. I was out on the launch pad today with the Administrator Bolden and other the leadership team. Boy, are you ready to go. It was so impressive. You've put in not only what we had done to get ready for the first launch, you've actually improved it. You've improved it in terms of reliability to launch. You've improved it in terms of safety. You've improved its durability. My gosh, this could go for not only the next 6 launches, it could go for the next 10 or 20 years. And I want you to go for the next 20 years. It is impressive for all of you who move dirt and move the bureaucracy, which at times is heavier than dirt. I really congratulate you on what you did. And then when I went to the HIF, oh gosh, it makes your heart beat so fast to see that rocket. They call it a medium-sized rocket. You see that rocket, there's nothing medium about it. I mean, it is big, and it is ready to go. And to see the new engine, a lot of plumbing, a lot of pipes, a lot of know-how, and a lot of technology. And I think it's just fabulous. I can't wait to hear the results, of the hot test. And then hopefully on July 6th, you'll be able to go really back into space where you should. And then that's the beginning of launch after launch. We are really proud of you. And I want you to know from what I've seen today, I really do believe it will be successful today and all the others will be successful. It took a lot of we to get here. There were investments by the United States government. There were investments by the private sector, and of course by the state of Virginia. I would like to thank those governors for Virginia because we couldn't have had a regional spaceport without them. And again, it was on a bipartisan basis. You've heard me talk extensively about Senator John Warner, but right now we have Senators Kane and Mark Warner who are 100% behind this project. And Senator Cardin and I talk with them just about every day on how we can bring jobs to the Delmarva, and Wallops is also central to that. And as a result now, as we are working to move this year's appropriation, this year actual money in the federal checkbook, not a promissory note, but actual money, we're adding $10 million to this NASA budget to improve the Wallops launch infrastructure, to improve its range instrumentation, and other kinds of things that will help do it. So we're going to keep on investing because we believe we're investing in you. It's one thing to have the best physical infrastructure, but I think you represent the best human infrastructure. Every single one of you that have had a part to do this. And why do we fight so hard? Well, first of all, jobs. These are great jobs here on the Lower Shore. Jobs, though the facilities located in Virginia, men and women work here in Virginia, and they work also in Maryland. And they generate jobs both in Maryland and Virginia. The other is what it means in terms of science and engineering. This is just really going to be fantastic. With its $200 million impact on the economy of the Lower Shore, I believe that you have a tremendous future. I wanted to come today because I hope to come back down for the launch. But as I said, the launch will be a lot of brouhaha and hoo-ha-ha and claps on the back and so on. But I wanted to thank you today. I wanted to thank you where there's some local TV, and we love to see them, etc. But I wanted to just thank you. When I came to the Congress, when I was elected in 1987, who would have thought? I had a rotary phone. I still had something called a typewriter. The word carbon was carbon paper that I used in that type. Little did I know that there was something called carbon, that we would be dealing with climate change. There was a Republican in the White House, President Reagan, and I wasn't sure, how all that would work out. And when I got started in the Senate, I went on a committee called the VA HUD and Independent Agencies, because I wanted to serve veterans, and I came from the gritty neighborhoods of Baltimore as a social worker, so of course I wanted to work on housing issues. But then there were the independent agencies, and the independent agency that was the flagship was NASA. And there was NASA. Of course we knew NASA. Of course we knew our astronauts. Of course we knew the daring do of our astronauts. And I also knew that there was a facility that I needed to get to know. It was called Goddard. And when I went to Goddard on my very first visit, and they showed me a slide of what all that they do, they showed me a picture of Wallops. And my response was, what the hell is that? I had come to Ocean City. I had been to Virginia Beach. I'd been a little bit of a party girl in my day, and could still be a party girl today in retirement. But they said, this is just a wonderful facility. And I made sure I came down, and what I saw was not only a landmass, but what I saw was fantastic people. So we often talk about our World War II people as the greatest generation. And they were. And you know why? Because we remember that they were willing, they had values. And what were their values? They were patriotic. They were duty-driven. They were willing to make a sacrifice. They did not think about themselves. They thought about their platoon. They thought about their group. They thought about a mission. They thought about what they were going to do was going to save democracy. And I believe that each generation can be great. And when I think here about the wonderful workforce at Goddard, that's who you are. You are a fantastic generation. You are a great generation because you bring those same values that saved our country so many years ago and will sustain our country now. Patriotism in action. It's one thing to salute the flag, which we should, with respect and reverence, to sing the national anthem with our shoulders squared, but how do you put it into action? It means doing the best job that you can, to be best at what you're at and best at what you're needed for, and to be then part of not a me, but part of a we. So for me, as I wrap up my career in the Senate, and many nice things have come my way, I say behind me is a whole lot of we. Or maybe me is behind a whole lot of we. A whole lot of we. And that is really you. So I'm going to just thank you for being you. I'm going to thank you for the job you do. I'm going to thank you for all of the feeling that you put into this. And I want to thank you for your values. So with that, I'm going to say God bless you, God bless America, and may the force continue to be with us. Well, first of all, thank you for those wonderful mementos. When we talk about the space program, and we talk about discovery, of course we talk about what we did on the moon, how we look at Mars. They're fabulous going to Pluto. There's so much, and also what will be coming here, the work that we do with the research on the space station. Not only the microgravity research, but also what it takes to be in space, which is not an easy thing. The wonderful work of astronaut Kelly, who just returned after such an extensive break. So I've been always fascinated by the exploration, the discovery, and all the energy behind it. I've always been fascinated by all of the energy and discover all the energy that went behind the exploration and discovery. But I will say to you, is what I said to Goddard, which has been my greatest discovery, has been you. You and all the wonderful people that work to make our country great in every single day, in every single way. As I said again, may that force continue to be with us, and God bless America. I don't make you